Good morning, or hello, welcome. So happy to be here with you this morning. And where you are, it could be afternoon. And you might be joining us later. Mary Beth is here. How great to see you. See you in your words on the chat. But amazing how there's a presence there. And I know Mary Beth, but I wonder if we can get to know people, know each other online. I think we can virtually. Okay. Welcome to Sun and Moon's YouTube channel. Let me close the door. Welcome to Sun and Moon's YouTube channel for Sunday meditation, every Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. This morning, as I continue pondering some teachings from the Yoga Sutra, we are on the idea of contentment, going through the rules for living or ways we can practice to align ourselves, to find contentment, to be more in harmony with our world, to bring our gifts to bear. Last week, we basically worked with the concept of how we clear a space, how we clean up our minds, our bodies, our surroundings. And I'll bring that into today's meditation a little bit. And you can start doing that by just how you're preparing for your seat. So before, about 15 minutes ago, for me, my knees are a little achy today. So I know from being a yoga teacher and a practitioner that when I stretch my hips out, that helps my knees. So prepare yourself, prepare your body for your sit. And sometimes almost no time is needed. We just get our chair, so get our cushion and sit. And other times we need to do something to settle our busy minds, to arrive fully here. And there are many, many practices that help us do that. And of course, I always give you some of that as we begin anyway. Last week we worked with movements of the eyes, which are really powerful and helpful. So today, contentment is the concept to ponder, and it's a little koan like this presentation. From contentment, unsurpassed happiness is gained. From contentment, unsurpassed happiness is gained. So it feels a little chicken and egg, right? Where do we start? Do we go looking for contentment? Oftentimes it doesn't seem to be here. Oftentimes it's a game of like hide and seek. It's totally hidden from us, our contentment. And is it something that's present, or do we have to do something to receive it, to be worthy of it, to have it? So this inquiry of, is it here? Is it here now, the contentment? So one of the questions I use from a practice developed or described and studied and implemented by a man who recently passed away, Gene Gendlin, focusing. He called it focus. And the questions that start you into this practice can be, is there anything in the way of everything being just right here? And you may have heard this kind of inquiry from teachers like Thich Nhat Hanh or other Eastern thought, where is there anything in the way of contentment right here, truly? And so with that, I will launch us into our 12-minute meditation. Ensure that your seat is comfortable, that it is feeling like it supports you both in what's around you, under you, the space you're in, and the way you have decided to set up your body, the tilt of your pelvis, the positioning of your legs and feet, the upward rising of the spine as well as its downward descending, that vertical line, that connection, downward and upward. Noticing that you're breathing. And gently move your eyes from left to right, as we did last week, a few times, gently, slowly, aiming to allow this line to be as even, smooth as possible. Letting the eyes settle back at center. Let the eyes move up and down now, just gently, slowly. Movements that we might think are quite easy, but when we are aiming to make these movements smooth and fluid, you may discover some bumps. And again, let your eyes rest. Take your eyes upward. They can be open or closed as you do these movements. Upward to the upper right hand corner, and then draw diagonal to the lower left. And do that 2 or 3 times, back and forth between upper right and lower left. And this time, as you're moving your eyes, imagine that the line of the eyes, is seeing farther up, all the way up to the right and all the way down. The line of vision goes to infinity in that direction. And then coming back to center. Sense the breath. With that pause of sensing the breath, we can check to see, am I as centered, grounded, comfortable as I can be, at least for now. And the other diagonal, let's add its pair, taking the eyes to the upper left-hand corner, and across and down to the lower right. And again, imagining that as we move the eyes, you might notice there's a difference. We can imagine that the eyes are just inside the head, and that looking is just limited to that inside of us. And then we can also envision that the stream of looking goes clear up into the sky, and the diagonal comes back out in front of us, and the diagonal sweeps way in front, coming back down. A different feel, back to center. And then imagine your eyes closed now. If your eyes are closed and gently relaxed, but imagine that you're looking as far into the distance as you can see. And that might have a certain feel in the center of your body. Relax that. The contrast of relaxing versus actively looking deep into the distance in front of us may have a particular feel. And then imagine that the eyes widen. There's a softness across from outer eye to outer eye. And imagine that you're looking back, that the eyes settle back, and that you're sensing with this inner vision back behind you. There might be a certain way that you're sensing this throughout your body, in the core, in the back body, in the pelvis. And then let your eyes rest again. These distinctions, the feel, obviously there's the movement, there's a particular movement you might feel in your eyes and you might not feel it. Perhaps if you did feel sensations in the body, and if you didn't, it's absolutely fine. That's not only fine, it's important and valid information. It's the truth of where you are now. So in asking the question, is there anything in the way of everything being all right here, right now? You might easily arrive at the place where it might be a little surprising, like, oh my goodness, actually, despite X, Y, and Z has been concerning me, hurting me, confusing me, everything's just fine right here. So don't go baking something up. They might arrive, and maybe for you, maybe it's not feeling everything's just right. And so notice what you are noticing. I'm noticing the ache in my knee. And in this space of quiet, still, sitting, could you give that, whatever it is that's in the way of everything being all right, can you give it a little true attention? Here, I'm here with you. Like a hand on the shoulder. And so you also might find in time with our practice, you've probably had tastes of this, that despite the very true obstacles to contentment, the concerns, the dilemmas, emotional challenges, contentment is present. Both are true. And so when you notice some obstacle to the contentment of just quiet sitting, you can metaphorically just put a hand on the shoulder of that concern. I'm with you. I hear you. Consciously follow 3 breaths. 3 of your breaths now. Consciously follow. Imagine that from a place of contentment, you're holding all that you're experiencing here now, easily, lightly. Just before we bow together, notice where your body might feel settled, where it might feel spacious, where it might feel that you're carrying or holding or gripping, where there is ease. And then be aware of the feel of letting the hands move so that the palms come toward each other in front of the heart. The feel of this gesture. It's a universal gesture, and for good reason that we all humans have an experience of this gesture. And let's bow together. It also has a particular feel, perhaps of humility, of respect, of coming inward, but feel for yourself and don't take what I say for granted. So in this riddle, this koan of from contentment, unsurpassed happiness is gained. Do we fake it till we make it? There seems to be an element of that in there, but I also think that all of us resonate with contentment. We're certainly looking for it often. And we might begin to find as we look for it, as we open to where it might be, maybe it's here all the time. So it's a sort of these both and things that we may have times where we don't see it anywhere. We're in that game of hide and seek. We don't feel it at all. There's not a drop of contentment present. And then there are times when we start to recognize that it's kind of our birthright. It's already here. And it's not to negate any of the very serious situations in our lives, personally, socially. And however, it really allows us to bring our fullest, brightest, most compassionate presence to anywhere we are. Don't you think? Thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you here next week too. Namaste.